Mainly what I always talk about with any student or anyone that I'm basically sitting down with is basically the story of my life, where I was, where I ended up, where I am now, where I want to go like 2 to 5 years in the future. There was a time where I believe I was a sophomore. And then I was visiting my middle school. I went back to Bright Terrace Middle School because I was kind of showing my little brother the ropes of what he's going to be getting into when he gets into middle school. And I ended up meeting one of my advisors, Mr. Sos, from 8th grade year, and then we started talking and stuff, and he was asking me how I was doing because I was kind of surprised that he still remembered how much of a troubled child I was during my middle school year. So I was kind of like, wow, that's not really who I am anymore. He's like, really? Tell me about it. And so we really started talking about what I've been through and how much I've changed as a person. And then he started talking about a bunch of other students that currently attended Bright Terrace Middle School that were going through some similar issues. And he asked me, he was like, would you be willing to, sit down with these guys sometime this year and just kind of tell them what they need to do and kind of set them straight? And I was like, okay, yeah, sure, I'll do that. And so probably like 2-3 months later, I went over to the middle school, and then I was in a classroom of about maybe 20 to 30 students that were in there that were all like the detention kids. They were all the ones that skipped school. They were all the ones that were doing drugs. And I basically just talked about my life and talked about how middle school was for me and where it took me and the mindset that I had and what I needed to change when I got into high school and how hard it was. It's really one thing that I like to hold dear to my heart, because once I took my eyes off myself and put them on other people, that's when it just became a huge flash of light, and that's where I got the most gratification from just seeing other people succeed and taking advice and just taking the baton of leadership and moving forward with it. And that's where I really got my gratification from. Well, it all starts with conversations. I mean, people ask like, oh, how do you start a conversation? Well, you say hello. And then how do you get to find out a person? You start asking them about their lives, and very specific questions as well that relates to them. One of the biggest things I found is that I stopped talking about myself. I don't talk about who I am. I try to figure out who you are and what you stand for and where you want to go in life and, what you got planned for your day and etc. And just really feel you out to see who you are as a person. And then if we connect, like say great minds think alike. And if we connect, then I'll go on deeper and I'll start asking some more questions. And it's all just about having your conversations. And then the way I see it is if I have 5 to 10 conversations a day, that can be anywhere from 20 to 50 conversations a week, maybe over 100. And if you talk to that many people, I guarantee you that maybe 1/3 of those people you'll be able to sit down with or just really have a genuine conversation with. And it wasn't until I started reading books of people that were once great, because to me I knew that in order to be great, you got to take mentorship and seek mentorship from those that were once great or are doing what you want to do. And so I started diving into those, and those were some of the biggest motivational pushers for me, because once I got down that second-hand knowledge that was passed down to me, I felt like I was being fed by like the elite. So therefore I will come up as an elite. It's kind of like as if you're dieting. Eat junk food, you'll be junk. If you diet right and exercise, then you'll be strong and healthy. I am currently a second assistant manager at Zoomies. For me having to have that much accountability, it's especially at a young age too, it means a lot to me. And so being in that store specifically with all those people that constantly go through, I get a feel for so many different people when you're constantly talking to well over 100, 200, 300 people a day. It just really shapes your communication skills and how many personalities you can accept and how many personalities you can relate to. Because since I've gone through many walks of life, I can relate to many different kinds of people. And so that's where I believe that helped me out as well too. And once I got a feel for what really the sales culture was, as opposed to just being a pushy salesman trying to shove product down people's throat, it really opened up the doors for me on how not only a salesman should be, but how a leadership figure within a store or, if you had to be a salesman would be. Because my first year at Zoomies, I sold over $328,000, and I placed within the top 100 out of 6,000 salespeople plus. And then this year I placed 123 as a manager, since I wasn't able to be on the sales floor as much since I was running the store. Half of my mom's side of the family is involved with gangs, drugs, alcohol, etc. Our convicts, our felons are in jail, have been killed, have been shot at, etc. And so they kind of live that bad lifestyle. And with my older brother, once he got into high school, he had a bunch of other local Hispanic kids that have also been around the same walks of life they kind of grouped up together and made their own little clique here at school that were like, this is what our family does, this is what we're gonna do. You know, they're bullies, they're mean, we're gonna be bullies, and we're gonna be mean. And so for me, I was like, I want to be just like you. And so, you know, that was my association outside of school. And then I would always bring that mentality, and I was always bring that attitude into school. And middle school was always just like the biggest bully to people. I was always mean. I never really complimented anyone. I never really smiled, I would say. I was always just that person that I wanted people to fear me, which was kind of a bad mindset to have, because, you know, that's eventually what I ended up getting, is just no one wanted to be my friend. Like, I just soaked in all the sadness, I soaked in all the anger, and that's just who I was. And it got bad to the point where, you know, I started getting around the crowds that were doing drugs and that were selling drugs and that were, you know, robbing things, robbing people, or just vandalizing the community. And so I became one of those kids where it was just bad overall. It wasn't until like the tail end of my sophomore year where I realized that I really needed to change things around on where I was going. And what made me enjoy high school the most was just being able to expand my horizon of association instead of being stuck to that one group that most people stick to the entire 4 years of high school. I started making more friends within high school. I started talking to more people and just really getting more people's names known and being able to speak upon like what kind of person they are and just related to them on so many different aspects of life. And so when it comes down to that, I'd probably say just like the people that go to this school has a huge handful of people that are extremely intelligent, that have strong and bright futures ahead of them. And just seeing how hard they work on a consistent daily basis as well too with school and how seriously they take it, that's what makes me enjoy high school the most, because I know that a lot of people have the same goals. Oh, my daily schedule. It's a little more free now, but what I always say in my speeches as well too is my daily schedule is I'll wake up at 6 p.m. I'll go to school. I went to 2 different schools. I went to tech school and I would go to this school. So I'd go to Snow for computer service and networking. And then I would get out of here like at 1:50, 2 o'clock. And then back when I was working 2 jobs for the Edmond School District, and I started as a sales kid at Zoomies, I would go to work immediately after school here at the district office at 2 p.m. I would get off at about 3:30, and then I would go to work at Zoomies immediately right after, so whatever time I get there. So from 3:30 to 4, I'd start at 4. And since I was a sales kid at a AAA volume store, during holiday seasons, the Alderman Mall wouldn't close until 11 p.m. And after that, since the store would be wrecked, we had to save time to clean up the store, so I wouldn't get out of there until about maybe 1, 2 a.m. And since I was enrolled in AP classes, I had a bunch of AP homework that I needed to do. So now I'll be doing my AP homework anywhere from the hours of 1 a.m. to 3 a.m. But then during that time, I also had this huge phase where I was going through this like natural bodybuilding challenge where I needed to go to the gym every single day. So then after doing my AP homework, I would go to the gym at 24-hour fitness anywhere from 2 a.m. to 4 a.m. And I'd work out for an hour before coming back home, taking a shower and going to bed, and then running off 2 hours of sleep for the next 5 days. That was what my schedule was for over a year. One of the biggest things I come to find with working retail stores is they all want to shift their volume online because they make more profits online, so that way they don't have to pay employees. And if I took a look at it, I remember I went over to the University of Washington. I was at Wazoo, Washington State University. I was at Wazoo, and I wanted to pursue business as well as pursuing computer engineering since I'm naturally growth technology. And one thing they come to find is that I was speaking to 3 of my potential business professors. And what shocked me was that 1 out of 3 actually owned a business. And I had to break that down. It's like, okay, so I got 2 teachers that don't even own businesses, but yet they're gonna teach me how to own a business. Like, how is that even logical? How can you teach me to succeed? What is it that, like, what kind of fruit do you have on the tree that you can pass down to me that will eventually allow me to succeed? Because I don't want you to be like many other teachers and just give me a textbook and expect me to learn. And what I come to find with my other business professor that actually owned a business was I started asking him very specific questions. Like, okay, so if you own a business, why are you a teacher? Because one thing that I come to find with most business owners is they get in a business for one reason and one reason only, and that's to have control of time and money. As if you own a business, why are you teaching? Why is it you get up every single morning to grade papers because your class is over 100 students large? I'm pretty sure that's a lot of stress for you. Why would you like to do that? And then, he was like, oh, I love teaching this, and that. I'm like, let me ask you another question to answer it truthfully. Is your business profitable? And I come to find out that shockingly it wasn't. Actually, not shockingly, it wasn't surprising that it wasn't profitable, because that's why he still has a job. And it's great that he's teaching and everything, but on a personal level, is that I don't want somebody that's not succeeding in something to teach me how to succeed in that area. Like, it's just not logical. It can't happen that way. If I want to be a professional running back, I'm not going to ask my grandma, right? You're going to want to go and ask like someone like Marshawn Lynch. Or if I want to be a quarterback, like, I'm not going to go and ask I'd probably go and ask Russell Wilson, someone that's actually done it, that's playing at the professional level and above.